Morning kings and queens, Lynn's here with another art tutorial for you guys. Now, I can't teach you how to form an electronic music duo from the UK, but I can teach you how to draw a Luna from AlunaGeorge, and that's what we're doing today. So I like to use Microsoft Paint because it's a free program. I always start with a 600 by 600 pixel canvas, and I like to use the calligraphy pen tool a lot. I'm also drawing on the XP Pen G640, which I got for pretty cheap online, links in the description. So right now we're going to start on the shape of the face. We're getting the sides of the cheeks done here, and I'm using the selection tool to move it over. The face was a little thin there. And now I'm starting to draw in the chin. Use the undo button as much as you need to. If it takes you a lot of tries, you gotta do what you gotta do, especially if you trash like me. Alright, so we got chin going on there, cleaned up the lines with the eraser tool. Sometimes you gotta zoom in to get, all the pixels just right. Oh, so in my last video, I was telling you guys about how one of the neighbor's kids had been pranking me and how I broke my ribs and had to go to the hospital. If you want to hear more about that, go check out my Sid art tutorial. But anyway, yeah, so I got back from the hospital and decided to just lay down and try to get some rest. So in the middle of my nap, I heard a knock at the door, so I go to check it out and see if, a package was getting delivered or something. Alright, so we are getting started on the lips here. So I got the top lip here. Now we're adding the bottom lip. And I'm adding the little opening to her mouth here. I'm trying to make sure it looks right. Alright, so we got the line in the middle of the lips there, just so there's like a tiny opening. And now we're getting started on the nose. Try to make sure you get the nostrils proper. You don't want them looking too big or too small. And I'm using the selection tool to move it to make sure it's not too close to the lips. And now we're getting started on the bridge of the nose and moving it up. Oh yeah, so back to my story. So yeah, I went out front because, someone was knocking. So I went to see if the mailman showed up. And when I opened the door, I didn't see anyone. But I did notice that there was a $20 bill just chilling on one of the front steps of my porch. So I'm like, hey, my luck's finally starting to turn around. So I went to grab it, but when I was rushing to go get it, I didn't notice when I stepped out that someone had put hella Legos right on my doormat, and I went down like the Roman Empire, y'all. Alright, so we got the eyes drawn in here. And don't be ashamed to use the copy and paste tool. If you get the perfect brush stroke for one of the eyes and you're not great at being symmetrical all the time, you could always copy paste it so you got two perfect sets of eyes. And right now I'm adding in the eyelashes. And we're adding in the top of the eyelids here. And we're moving everything around, making sure it's centered in the face. And right here is the lines on the side of the mouth where the cheeks are. I'm moving the eyes a little lower. Alright, so after I fell onto a mountain of Legos, I could hear that prankster laughing at me again. And I seen him pop his head out from the front of my porch and snatch up the $20 bill. And I'm like, the audacity. I just got out of the hospital and you already attacking me like this? I see how it is. So I kicked the Legos off my porch, limped back in the house, and I started planning my next move to prank them back. Alright, so we're getting started on the eyebrows here. I like to kind of just do like a rough, quick drawing with the calligraphy pen tool to get the eyebrows in. It doesn't got to look nice because you can always clean it up with the eraser tool, which is what I do. Just try to make sure the width of the eyebrows looks symmetrical for each of the ones that you're drawing. And I'm cleaning it up with the eraser tool there, make it look nice and smooth. And I'm cleaning up any messes I make with the erase tool as well. Using the selection tool to move the eyebrows around. You want to make sure it's not too close to the center of the face, but not too far apart. Moving the mouth here. You always want to have a reference photo on the side of your drawing. That way you can keep looking back and forth. Make sure all the things you're putting on the face, are like the proper proportions. Alright, so back to my story. So I'm like, man, how am I going to get this kid back after all this? And you know what? I actually came up with a great idea. I'm like, alright, so I'm going to order some Chinese takeout to his address And then when the food gets there and his parents have to pay for it, he gonna be in mad trouble, right? So I called the local Chinese spot and I ordered like $100 worth of food. And when they ask for the name, I give them the kid's name, which is Greg, by the way. So no wonder this kid's pranking me. I bet he gets bullied at school for having a 30-year-old name in his teens. Anyway, yeah, so I put the order in. They say it'll take like an hour, and now I just got to play the waiting game. So I brought out one of my chairs out to my front porch, and I got all cozy waiting to see this kid's parents yell at him when I finally get my revenge. All right, so we're getting started on the hair here. I'm just, making curls. This part's actually really fun to draw. It just takes like a lot of layers of doing this. And sometimes you can even make like a black blob shape and then just on the edges have the curls, but sometimes I like drawing it all out. Yeah, so back to my story. So the delivery car pulls up and the dude comes out with like 5 bags of Chinese food. And I'm like, yo, it's about to go down. So I see him knock on their door and the kid answers it. They talk for a little bit, but then I see the delivery driver start walking across the street over towards my place. And he comes up on my porch and he was like, yo, did you order all this food? And I'm like, nah, I didn't order nothing. And he's like, well, that kid said they didn't, and to check the caller ID of who called in the order. So this man dials the number, and of course my cell phone starts ringing in my pocket. So the driver must have been a little mad at me, because next thing I know, I wake up lying on my front porch with a black eye. So I had to call an ambulance and make sure I didn't have a concussion. All right, so we got the hair filled out here, and we're adding some extra lines on the other side, make sure it looks proper. And we're filling it out here, adding some more hair. And sometimes I use different, reference photos. I don't just use the one that you're seeing. I like to use multiple reference photos. So if you see like a different hairstyle or something, it's probably because I was looking at a different photo and maybe I was just using this one for the shape of her face. But she's got a lot of hair here, so don't be afraid to add a bunch. All right, so just add in any final touches you want to do. I put the name at the bottom, and I like to do my coloring in Microsoft Paint 3D if you have Windows 10, and boom, you got a masterpiece. So make sure to add in your watermark so no one steals your art. If anyone pissed you off this week, tell me about it in the comments below. So long story short, I'm back in the hospital again, and I'll update you guys in the next video. If you want to make my day a little better, feel free to hit that like button. And if you haven't yet, subscribe and ring that bell. I make a new art tutorial every week. And if you need art commission done or want to take my online course about how I draw these portraits, links for that are below. Peace.